So you've found your piece of land, you've checked it out in detail to identify the cost implications, you've ran through the numbers to make sure it stacks up as a deal, you've gone to the owner of the land and you've negotiated the price that you're willing to pay for the land, and now you're moving into the approval stage for planning and the various elements that entails. So in this video, what we're going to do is to move from not understanding what the processes are to understanding what the processes are, from not understanding what the different types of planning is to understanding what the different types of planning is, and from not understanding what the different building control or building warrant issues are to what a building warrant is and what you need to do to satisfy that. Hi, my name is Jim J. Davidson, and I've been involved in property since 1973, when my brother and I purchased a flat in the student area of Edinburgh. Ever since then, I've been interested in property as a form of wealth creation. My current company, Fineside Developments, was established in 2003 and completed its first new build in 2006. And I hope you will join me on this journey as perhaps you start your own property journey. For context, we are in the plan it phase and the approve stage. So why is this important? Well, you have to have what we call detailed or full planning in place, and you have to have a building warrant or building control measures satisfied before you can lay any concrete in the ground. So let's talk about planning. I often find that there's a misconception here, because there are generally two types of planning. There's outline planning, which is also referred to as planning in principle, and then there is full planning, which is a different type of planning from the outline planning. Outline planning usually just means that in principle we will say you can build a property or several properties within that piece of land, but it doesn't determine a lot of the constraints will then be put into the planning process once it has been approved. So an outline planning could have lots of cost implications, and they will often refer to them that we need to be satisfied of reserved matters, which they will detail in the outlining planning document. But it doesn't determine the size of the house or houses. It may even be vague about the number of houses. They might say somewhere between 3 and 5 houses. That obviously has an impact on how valuable that land is, and so it'd be prudent to have a much better idea of that before obviously you negotiate the price. And you may indeed have to go back and renegotiate the price based on the number of units that you actually are able to achieve planning for. So the outline planning simply says, yes, in principle you can have a structure on this piece of land or several structures on this piece of land. Full detail or detailed planning is, this is how the house or houses are going to look. These are the aesthetics of it. So both of these things are what we call subjective. In other words, it's down to humans to make a judgment. There's no hard and fast rules, and there's no certainty that you will gain planning. They are obviously guided by certain principles, and you need to understand those principles in order to make sure that you are able to viably assess a piece of ground. But understanding those principles, you are then able to move on and start to look at a viable proposition. So the full detailed, once you have got that in place, you then need to go to a second tier, which is called a building warrant or building control or building standards. It's got various names, and councils use different names depending on what part of the country you're in and what different regions of the country that you're within. But building control is very much objective. Again, they are controlled by certain standards, and they have all these different parts, and depending on which country of the UK you're in, they differ, and they are laid down guidelines which they then have to conform to. So often with a building warrant, what will happen is that you will submit it in the application for a building warrant, and there will be to-ing and fro-ing between you and or your representative who's submitting it and the person in the council in order to reach a point where they are satisfied with everything that is going to be the way it's going to be built. So this is called objective. In other words, having got planning, you will get a building warrant, but it's on the conditions. There'll be certain conditions on how you get that building warrant. So there'll be certain things that you have to satisfy. Now, having said that, there may even be things that once you have built the house and then you have to go for what's called a completion certificate, that there may be other things that they further want to be satisfied, and you will have to satisfy those things. Or at least argue why you maybe can't satisfy those things. In other words, you need to get their agreement before they will issue the completion certificate. So it's a subject that is fairly complex. You certainly want to have professionals involved on your side to help you through this process. It's something that you have to get right in order to do the development. So you really have a choice of perhaps going it alone yourself, but then you have to really understand all the different regulations and the implications of that, or hiring a professional who can work that through you. Now, we aim to help you with this process in the membership app, so why not sign up for the membership app now and get access to the current free material that's available there, plus some other incentives in the app. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos. Then click to watch the next video. Please remember to visit our website at builditandprosper.com, Together app, or click on the button on the YouTube header if you're on desktop.